Good evening and welcome to the show tonight. Election update as polls close in the first major election of the year. We have the latest on the candidates and where they stand tonight. Also, the GOP candidate Lundis01 joins us to speak about it. Azur out of AP after the Senate was set to fail his nomination for vice president. Azur rage quits and leaves the community altogether. We have the latest on the situation tonight. Republicans are back in control after a major shakeup within the Constitutional Party. Republicans have taken control of the United States Senate. Senate Whip Majority William Nixon joins us as well as Zarda Vex to speak on it. All that and more tonight on The Parker Jackson Show. And good evening, everybody, and welcome to this show. Welcome to the Parker Jackson Show. I'm your host, Parker Jackson. And yes, I am back, and I'm glad to be back in the American Roleplay with all of you. Most of you will know me from hosting one of the highest rated shows on Fox News, Parker Jackson Tonight. I am back under the new name of the Parker Jackson Show, and you can join me weekdays as we break down the latest headlines and have a great time. Another announcement tonight is that we are debuting one of our brand new studios here at MSNBC or MSNBC, whatever, headquarters in New York. From now on, this is what will be each night, bringing you the latest news. But let's get into the show. We're going to start with news coming out of the polls tonight after the first major House election comes to an end. This comes as one of the first major elections in American roleplay history. Let's break down the polls for you right now. So, as of 8:30 EST tonight, these are new results, and it has GOP candidate Lundis01, who's going to be joining me in a second, with 17.1% of the vote, also in first place, followed by second place, Kaniel Krivaki. I don't know how you say his name, but he is in second place with 13.15% of the vote. Bernard Caldwell follows with 11.84% of the vote, and in third place, GOP candidate Trey Namikos with 9% of the vote, as well as attorney with 9% of the vote as well. Some of the ones at the bottom of the list of candidates is Madison Carthorne with only 1% of the vote, Charles Saline with 1% of the vote, and the Elf Gamer 101, which is 2.63% of the vote. Joining me now is GOP candidate and number one voted person on the election tonight, Lundis. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, and thank you for joining me. So I guess, how did you get elected to be the first, or how do you have the most votes tonight? What do you think you did right?
I just had a very good campaign. I got so many people involved in, so many different aspects of the group. I, set this foundation that I would try to build up our group through Congress with basic bills to be passed so that, we can, move past this critical stage in our development. And that's what people want to see. People don't want to see all this bickering inside of the House and, all of this drama with, the presidency and all. People just want to see action. We want to see bipartisan support across the board. And, that's why I was running in the first place. And, a lot of people have decided to, support me on that notion.
Yeah, indeed. Now, if you're elected or when you're elected, judging by the polls, what do you plan to do for the American people tonight?
Like I just said, I really want to talk with as many American people as possible. I'm not as experienced, at least in American role play. I was a senator in NUSA, but as far as American role play, I am an outsider, and I think a lot of people can relate to that. As for your question, though, um, a lot of my whole campaign slogan is for fundamental action, and that's what I want to do. I want to set the precedent for future Congresses, so that we can establish bills that will allow us to build our nation up essentially.
Yeah, and as you are most likely going to be elected, do you think our president right now is doing?
I am not as fond of our current president, Bayan Filipino. I was there at the White House briefing as, his whole cabinet just fell apart. I'm not a fan of his administration. I'm not a fan of his handling. I am very much looking forward to this upcoming presidential election and who's going to come out of it.
Yeah, indeed. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's always a great talking to candidates on the campaign trail.
Yeah, of course.
All right, guys, when we come back, we're going to be talking about the recent VP um, nominee rage quitting the American Republic. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Parker Jackson Show. New tonight, Azure Hybrid has left the American Roleplay due to his recent vice presidential nomination set to fail in the Senate on Sunday afternoon. This came as his nomination was passed by the House and proceeded to the Senate, where the overwhelming majority voted against his nomination, causing it to be set to fail. He then rage quit the community, and in one final statement, he said Roblox politics will not work if people do stuff for personal gain. Joining me now is White House Chief of Staff Lion Claus. Good evening, Lion.
Good evening, and I'm happy to be on here today. Thank you.
Now, Lion, you're the press secretary for the administration. How did the administration feel when Azure rage quit and lost the nomination? Did y'all think that he had a chance?
We always maintain high hopes that any nominee would pass. And I would like to remind the American people these are not the president's actions. These were the actions of a hybrid. And we don't condone anybody quitting the community because they have not gotten their way or what they would like to see occur. But the president, we have a new nominee, and the president is very determined to get him passed on a bipartisan basis. The president has, you can look at the record of our new vice presidential nominee, and you can see that he is a proven fighter. So we know his capability, and we are very hopeful that we can get him passed on a bipartisan basis.
Why do you think the Senate failed your first nomination?
Well, there we do have issues with the way that the Senate was operating within party lines instead of within what would be good for the American people and the American public. We would like to see a more bipartisan Congress, and this is why we are not afraid. This administration is not afraid of a GOP majority in the Congress. We actually very much hope to work with a new GOP majority in the Congress.
Now, I'm just want to address the elephant in the room, and that really is that the administration has been failing overwhelmingly in the past week. I mean, it started with that chaotic press briefing that you ran. How are y'all responding to that tonight?
We are making a series of changes. The next press conference, there will be no guest. I will be speaking, and I will hopefully have reports from all of the departments myself to mute all the chaos that was caused by multiple people not coming, resulting in delays in the duration and when the press conference occurred. The president was also not originally scheduled to speak, but because he went on your show, I believe, or was it Michael's? I cannot remember.
It was
That
Michael's.
was Michael's show.
Yes.
Thank him for allowing me on today. We had to delay it a further few minutes for him to finish his interview. So there were multiple things that happened that were not planned for the event, and we're gonna take our now with hindsight, and we're gonna work to mute those challenges in the future.
Now, I mean, I guess just to address the other controversies going on within your administration, I mean, it's been a really terrible week and it continues to be. I mean, you see the majority flipping to the Republican side. I mean, just address it all for us. What is going on in the administration tonight?
We could say, of course, no party or no president would like to see the opposition get elected. It's always better to have majority control of your own party. It's easier to get stuff done. But I like to reiterate this, we very much love to work with the GOP majority. There is no bias in this administration towards the GOP majority. We welcome them with arms wide open, ready to get stuff done. We have numerous things that the president would like to try, and he has sent, I believe, already nominations.
Now, final question for you. Do you believe that, judging on the polls right now, that you guys even stand a chance in the upcoming presidential election?
Well, I will tell you, we have been looking at the polls, and we've been trying to adjust to the opinions of the American people. This has always been, as the founders put it, a Republican form of government, and we encourage any result of any future election. No election result will scare this administration. The democratic will of the American people will be respected, and that's how the president would like it to be, and that's how we have to keep it.
Thank you so much for coming on. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show taking a look at the recent polls and projections for who might just be our new president. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Parker Jackson Show. As we wrap up our first episode here on MSNBC, tonight we're taking a better look at the upcoming elections and how they could turn out due to recent polling. And a poll released asking the country who they would cast their vote for in the upcoming presidential election. Armand Foley has a major majority of the vote. Armand received 46 votes with 46 votes in general, with the other two challengers only averaging 21 votes combined, so he has the overwhelming majority. Let's also take a look at some of the newly polls that were released just hours ago, and one of them reads, in a one-on-one race, do you support Armand Foley or Bernard Caldwell? It is actually tied at the moment with 28 for Armand and 28 for Bernard, so we're going to see where that goes. In another one-on-one race, do you support a con artist or Bernard Caldwell? The overwhelming majority has voted for Bernard, with 39 votes for Bernard and 7 votes for a con artist. And the final one that they released was, do you support Armand Foley or a con artist? And 37 people voted for Armand, only 6 voting for a con artist. So a con artist does not really have a chance in this. I'm just going to put it out there. But let's go ahead and scroll up and take some more looks. This one was yesterday that was released. It said, Akon's campaign continues to grow. What's your opinion on his campaign? And only 14 people voted for the C option, which was for indifferent or don't care. Now, this is important because, as you see now, the GOP really has taken over the majority in the House elections. But right now, we have an independent running, Armand Foley, who seems to be in the lead in the majority of the polls, with Election Day coming up, inching closer every single minute and hour that we're on the air. So it's going to be a really interesting election season, and stay with MSNBC as we're going to cover it all for you. Also, I'd like to thank everybody for watching tonight. It's great to have you, and I hope you join us tomorrow night for another episode. We're going to have a great episode tomorrow. We're going to be speaking to somebody from the Bernard Caldwell administration on why he is back running for president. So that's going to be an interesting interview. But yeah, we'll see you tomorrow, and have a great night, everybody.